others, made especially savage for children who may not be afforded a long life to make up for that bad luck. This place sings with joy. The definition of who we serve may give you pause to imagine that it doesn't, but this place sings with joy. 34 years later, that beautiful little summer camp that was his dream, serving 288 children, now serves 20,000 children and family members every single year. Some of those children are served on site in summer, fall, and spring programs, and many more thousands are served off-site in children's hospitals up and down the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, in the homes of campers who may be declining in health, in local neighborhoods where we have pop-up camps, connecting families that we know need to be connected to one another. So it's an extraordinary cause. Over the last year, I've had many donors say that they've never more identified with the experiences that our campers and their families have to go through. Fear, isolation, uncertainty, loss of freedom. And as we are looking for warmer and more hopeful days, our camper families don't get that, right? That fear and isolation and uncertainty remains a part of their lives for the entirety of their lives. And that's why this place exists, to be able to acknowledge that, bring them together, create joy, and invite them into friendships that will serve them for the rest of their lives. And not just them, the children, but their families. We had an unfortunate and painful event happen on February 12th. The heart of our program complex was burned to the ground. And that program complex is over there in the picnic table area. If it were not for the quick action and bravery of multiple fire departments, we would have lost this magnificent structure as well as the infirmary. So it is a miracle that that intense fire destroyed that entire complex and these buildings were spared. I also want to thank the remarkable response following that fire. Within a short time, we had a gift announcement from Travelers in the Travelers Championship for $1 million. We had an announcement from Newman's Own Foundation for $1 million. And we had the invitation from Travelers and the championship for a match. Within 1 week, 3,000 donors contributed to meet that match. That's remarkable. And after we announced that the match was complete, thank you so much for this outpouring of generosity. The gifts continue to come. And with all of those beautiful gifts and funding sources, we are going to be able to rebuild a spectacular program complex that will be able to even better meet the needs of today's campers and tomorrow's campers and their families. We couldn't be more grateful and more excited about what that program complex is going to look like. We will break ground shortly after our summer programs are done, and within 8 months, that site will be completed to welcome our 2022 campers back to camp. What's happening right now? We're still pivoting in the time of COVID, and we know that with the challenges, the medical challenges that our children face every day, we need to be as conservative as possible. And so we are dedicating our spring and our summer program this year to serve families exclusively. So instead of 120 beautiful little children screaming like crazy, having the time of their lives, we will have 13 to 15 families coming to camp where we can do on-site testing, ensure physical distancing, continue to wear masks, and do family parallel programming. So families will see one another walking around enjoying camp, but they won't necessarily be able to play with one another. It'll be a retreat custom designed for each family. Over the course of the spring and summer, we will serve about 150 families. And then fall, we go right back into family care as well. Our founder said, in the final analysis, we'll be about as good as people make us. We'll need a lot of help to get this realized, and the only thing we can do is find people in the community who feel the way we do. We have been blessed for 34 years to find people in the community who feel the way we do, who feel the way he did, and all of us that are so privileged to work at camp feel. Camp is reliant on the support of thousands of donors every single year. And they have taken Paul's dream and made it their own. And as a result, this beautiful dream of a summer camp has evolved into a year-round program serving thousands and thousands of children and families every year. And there's more to do, and we're excited to do it. So with that, thank you again for being here. Thank you all, for being so kind to camp. You've done that repeatedly over these last 34 years, so thank you for bringing our message so beautifully to the public. And I'm just so honored that Governor Lamont is here. Governor, I wanted to say from in the beginning, and I forgot, just how grateful all of us at the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp are, how strong, how smart your leadership has been this whole year, getting us through this crisis. So we have the utmost respect for you and are deeply, deeply grateful for you and all your team. Allow me right now to introduce Chris Soto, the Director of Innovation and Partnerships, and thanks again for coming to camp.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Soto from the State Department of Education. I serve as the Director of Innovation and Partnerships, and I've been deeply involved in our summer enrichment work. I want to thank Jimmy for hosting us here so that we can really emphasize the importance that a summer experience has on a young person's life. Thank you, Governor, as well, for being here and also emphasizing the importance of those summer experiences, because learning doesn't just stop at the end of the school year, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And so we're reopening as a state. That's an awesome thing. Businesses and restaurants are open, but so are summer camps, so are summer programs, and so are so many other entities that provide meaningful enrichment experiences for young people. But we didn't get here by accident, right? We, just last week, 86% of young people, students across the state of Connecticut, were learning in person in a schoolhouse. 86%. You double that with 13% of hybrid students, and almost 99% of students were learning in person in a schoolhouse. That was not by accident. That's because we have high vaccine rates, so that way our teachers can get back into school and we don't have to close schools because of staffing issues. We have low positivity rates, so that way students can get in school, and so families have the confidence to get back to normal. And the same thing is going to be mirrored here with summer programs and summer camps across the state, and that's why we're here to emphasize that. Because now families have the confidence to get young people back into the programs that they need. When we started this work around summer enrichment, we started with a survey. And that survey went to programs, families, providers, and what we heard overwhelmingly was that students just want to have fun and they want to get away from their screens. And this is why we're here today, to emphasize that, to highlight these programs and other hundreds of programs across the state that are going to give those meaningful experiences to young people. So I want to now introduce our esteemed Commissioner from the Department of Children and Families, Vanessa Durances.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you so much to the Hole in the Wall Gang for what you provide. I feel like families have been in hibernation for the last 15 months. You know, when you think about what outdoor camp experiences provide for families, you think about the opportunity for kids just to be kids, for kids to be outside playing and arts and crafts and learning to be around with other children and playing. This pandemic has been like the cicada hibernation, the 17 years before we could actually emerge and appreciate the sunshine and appreciate the breeze. When you think about the impact of the pandemic on families and isolation of children, there's nothing more important than thinking about how children can bounce back and to recover from what they've experienced over the last year. And we are so fortunate in the state of Connecticut to have a governor who has put families first. Our beaches are open, our aquariums, our zoos, our parks, our hiking trails are all open for families. The one thing that he wanted to make sure that we did in working across agencies is to make sure that all kids and families in Connecticut have the same opportunity. We know that kids who have chronic medical illnesses or chronic mental illness sometimes can't do some of the same things that their peers do. Places like the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp fix that. Everything here is accommodated to meet the needs of kids. So we are so excited to be able to kick off the summer camp season here with the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp. We are excited that they are emerging from their tragic fire to be better, as we will, as the state, be better than before. And what we recognize is the best thing that happens when you take your mask off is you see a child smile. You see a child have fun, and they can see you having fun. So what the Hole in the Wall Gang here does is provide an opportunity for families to be able to do that. What our parks, our beaches, our museums, all of our activities in summer camps across Connecticut will be able to do is put the smiles back on the faces of our children, of all of our children. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Governor, for this opportunity. And thank you on behalf of Connecticut's children and families.
DCF has been an amazing partner as we've started to plan for summer enrichment, and another one of those partners has been the Office of Early Childhood. And so here to talk and representing them is Elena Trueworthy, who's the Connecticut Head Start Coordinator.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. It is so wonderful to be here today. Just stepping into this space, stepping into this campus, if you will, you can just really feel, just in your heart, just the thousands and thousands of children and families that have been so positively impacted by the Hole in the Wall Gang. And so we think about that. We think about the development of young children and youth in our families. And one thing struck me about the purpose of the Hole in the Wall Gang, and that was that it is a community that celebrates the fun, friendship, and spirit of childhood. And at the Connecticut Office of Early Childhood, we do believe in the same, the spirit of childhood. And so we know that during the pandemic, children and families and our youth have been isolated. They haven't had as many peer-to-peer interactions, which are so critical for the development, for the social emotional development and the mental health of our children and families. And so these opportunities, and we're so thrilled to be able to partner with the State Department of Education, with the Office of the Governor, to be able to support summer camps and summer enrichment activities. And so, we want to thank the Hole in the Wall Gang. We also want to thank the leadership of Governor Lamont, because it is through his leadership that we are now able to provide these opportunities, and we are thrilled to be able to hear about just the wonderful summer opportunities that all these children and families have. Thank you.
So when we talk about summer activities, opportunities, a lot of that happens with partnerships, and there are community partnerships with entities, school districts with entities, community-based organizations. And so one of those partners here today is Generations Family, and I'd like to introduce Arvind Shaw, the CEO.
What a beautiful day. It just is outstanding, isn't it, to be out in the sunshine? And there are no bugs either. That's a really, really amazing thing, because pretty soon it's going to get pretty buggy out here. But, Jimmy, thank you for hosting us. It is so inspiring. It is really, truly so moving to be here. I don't know how I can express myself in any other way. But, this place represents equity. Equity for patients, equity for some of the smallest patients that we have. And it's really important that, in COVID, a lot of stuff was taken away from us. And we were really brought down to our knees just with basic distancing, masking, lockdown, Zoom. I keep waking up at night thinking I'm on mute. But, the fact of the matter remains is that it's really important that equity for kids be in place. These are the people who are going to be actually, when I'm old or older, okay, they are the administrators of my nursing home or my care or whatever. And we need to make sure that treatment for all is well and good. You know, so this is really an amazing place. I am just, you know, I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned. I've never been here. My wife has worked here, and she's told me about this place. And I'm so pleased to, I'd like to come back. Okay? I'll come back with my fishing pole.
Okay.
Anyway, I want to talk about a little bit more about equity, because I think it's really important that we regain this equity that was lost with the pandemic. The National Institutes of Health say that there are basically 4 areas of equity, or 4 goals that we should have. One is access, one is quality. The third thing is population health, so that there's no disparities in how one sector is treated versus another group. And I'm here at Generations. We actually serve a rural part of the state. We serve about 22,000 patients. We're located, we have medical, dental, behavioral health services that are available to anybody who walks in through our doors, regardless of their ability to pay. You know, we have yet to send anybody to a collection agency, and every year we give out about $2 million worth of free care. It's really important that these services remain in the community and be in the community and be a part and integrated in the community. You know, there was a very innovative thing that happened during COVID. And I want to thank our legislators and the governor, actually. The governor is the one we should be thanking for. He gave us telehealth. And telehealth phone is a big change. You know, I don't know if any of you live in this area. I live 2 miles down the road, right over here. I can tell when the kids are at home because the bandwidth is gone, okay? It's totally missing, okay? And, you know, you're taking a long time to upload. You get stuttering on your so, you know, I couldn't work from home. I go into the office every day. Unfortunately, this telehealth has been so key. Actually, not unfortunately. Fortunately, it's been so key to open the access to health services for patients. It's allowed us to make sure that we've kept our patients in place without overutilizing the system, and I think you're going to see the results of it. In the next couple of years, you're going to see very, very dramatic changes in this equity aspect of it, because it just means that you can pick up the phone and you can talk to a provider, and you can, you know, if something was bugging you or something was bothering you and you didn't know whether the rash was, you know, going to go away, whether it's Lyme disease or something or the other, you know how anxiety is. I know how anxiety is. I'm a patient too. And, you know, it kind of gnaws away at you. You can pick up the phone and answer those questions. You can actually go to a portal and you can answer those questions for yourself. It's a really, really key piece of health equity. And, you know, I want to thank the governor, and I want to thank the governor's leadership team. You know, his briefings were really key. It was a Friday in March when he allowed for telehealth to go on. And Tuesday we were up and running. And this happened throughout the state. It was a piece of innovation which was really long in its coming, but it's something that I'm enormously grateful for, because it allowed us to keep our patients safe, ourselves safe. We could provide the services to folks, even though they were remote. We could make sure that we are monitoring them well. And if they needed to go to the emergency room or the hospital, we were providing that. And you're going to see those results in the next couple of years as a strong way of really improving that health equity for patients. So on behalf of my patients, Governor, I'd like to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arvind, and thank you for emphasizing the importance of equity as we do this work. So we are very fortunate here in the state of Connecticut that we have strong leadership within our constitutional officers, and specifically a treasurer who not only is ensuring that our bond rating is improving, but has been out front on issues that impact children and families. and specifically that those families can build generational wealth. And so with that, I'd like to introduce our treasurer, Sean Wooden.
I am so happy to be here today. And I'm going to get my quick thank you into the governor, but not based on what everybody else said. Thank you for inviting me to join you today. Because to trade this for being in my office, thank you. You've heard about camp being a place of love, of laughter, of joy. And even without the kids here on this tour today, I felt it, I heard it. Part of it is your passion and you telling the story. Part of it is I was one of those kids, not here, but I was a kid who spent summers at a camp not far from here, every summer. From the north end of Hartford, it was a very different experience. And that's where I learned to love nature. That's where I learned to appreciate fresh air, trees. It took me a few summers to appreciate camping in the woods and sleeping there, but I got there. And walking here and through here reminded me of that joy, that love, that laughter. And so I just want to say, we are open this summer. That is a blessing for all of us. Thanks to strong leadership at the state, thanks to our state residents actually following that leadership and trusting the science and the guidance, we are able to move forward in getting closer to a new normal. And this is just one of many examples of that happening. And I want to close. I'd be remiss. We've heard a little bit about equity, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that this camp represents equity. It represents equity. When the commissioner asked earlier during our tour about how much does it cost for the families or people to come here, and I was wondering that question, but I didn't want to put you on the spot, right? Because camp I went to, you paid what you could afford, which was for most of us nothing, right? And the answer is nothing. That's how much vulnerable kids from all over pay to come here for this amazing experience. And we have to make equity at the center of everything that we do as a society if we are going to be better than we used to be. And so thank you for that. Thank you, Paul Newman, for that vision. And thank you, Governor, for inviting me to join you today.
And so, lastly, we're going to have the governor come up, but I just want to say one thing. You know, before we started thinking about this summer, the governor was intent on ensuring that, one, families had access to high-quality summer programs, and that, two, families weren't going to have a financial burden, whether it could be free, sliding scale, or whatever we could do to ease that burden financially for families based on everything that they've had. So thank you, Governor, for doing that. And without further ado, Governor Lamont.
So Jimmy, driving in here, I think that sign said it all. You know, the fun starts here at the Hole in the Wall camp. And fun is an amazing form of therapy. And a lot of folks need therapy. Hole in the Wall gang takes kids who suffer from some of the most serious illnesses. I had the good fortune to know Mr. Newman a little bit. He hated to be called Mr. Newman, by the way, which is why I like to tease him. And I said, yeah, we're going to have a little fun, and we're going to raise a little hell. And that's even better therapy. And just imagine this place right here in Ashford, Connecticut, you know, with dozens of kids and their families, 20,000 a year. It's just remarkable what they do. Imagine that building that was right over there until this winter, with the volunteers going to put out the fire and saving the OK Corral, which is right down there. That's the hospital. That's where you have dozens of volunteer nurses and doctors who come because they care and take care of these kids. I'm so glad that Mr. Newman developed his salad dressing. He was pretty fussy about his salad dressing, pretty proud of it. Used to take it to restaurants with him because he wouldn't take the chef's salad dressing, and it seemed to be pretty popular. Jimmy was saying he took it to Stu Leonard's and said, "Why don't you see if we can sell a few of these things?" And that was the original seed financing for the Hole in the Wall camp. And we have a lot of kids who need a lot of healing right now. And this camp has been sort of a beacon for us, Jimmy, as we think about, we have hundreds of thousands of kids whose lives were disrupted over this last year. We did our best to keep our schools open, as Chris said, more of them open than anywhere else, but we have 100,000 kids that a lot of them just didn't feel confident getting back into school. And that's why using the Hole in the Wall as a role model, we're going to have, we've signed on 200 camps so far all around the state in over 100 of our different towns and cities at virtually no cost to anybody. Making sure that these kids can have a little fun, raise a little hell, get back with their friends, smile without a mask on, get a little learning, get back up to speed, and get ready to go for the fall. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we're doing here. I can tell you a personal story. When I first met Paul Newman, he and I both love kids, and neither of us were fans of the war in Iraq. So that got my gander up. And one day I got a call from him when I was running for office, and that was a big issue. And he said, "I'm with you. This war is bad for kids, and it's bad for peace." And I said, "I love it, Mr. Newman. You're pretty good on camera. Would you be willing to maybe say that?" And he said, "No, I can't do that." I said, "Well, why not?" And he said, "I went on TV last time for a candidate, and they started boycotting Newman's own dressing in protest. And I don't want to let that happen to the Hole in the Wall guys, those kids." But I said, "Well, how about a robocall?" And he called back about a week later. It's a little personal story. And he just said, I tried your idea on this robocall. I wrote it myself. I thought it was pretty good. I said, "I sure it was, Mr. Newman." And he said, "I made 5 calls. I got 2 wrong numbers, 2 answering machines, and some guy said, 'There's some quack on the phone claiming to be Paul Newman. Are you sure this is the best way I can help you?' I said, 'It's pretty good, sir.' And we miss him every day, one of Connecticut's very own. But this is an amazing testament to the joy and the hope that he gave to thousands of kids, not only here, but in countries across this world. And I want you to remember the Hole in the Wall gang. I want you to step up. I want you to support them in any way that you can. We're in good shape for our summer camps, by the way. We got some federal support that we're rolling those out right now. We got 1,000 college kids who are stepping in to be, tutors and mentors for our kids going forward. But remember the Hole in the Wall gang. Remember what it means for these kids. A lot of kids who maybe weren't sure they had a lot of hope, or a lot of kids who thought maybe they were alone and nobody was quite like them. And they came here and they knew it was very different and they felt right at home. Thanks, everybody.
I'll take some questions.
Yeah, can you talk more about specifically what the state's doing for summer camps in terms of funding? You said 200 signed on. Talk more so people know exactly what's available, how much funding.
Sure, absolutely. So if you recall, through the American Rescue Plan, there was 11 million set aside specifically for summer enrichment. And so what we did as a department, we put out an application for programs to apply. These are for small community-based organizations all the way up to regional programs that are serving at scale. And so we just announced those awards. We're deploying about $9 million to the state to over 235 programs that were selected.
And what will that mean for campers who want to go to those camps?
Yeah, so that means 2 things. Either one, we've expanded slots at existing programs, or they're offering scholarships or reduced rates for families, so that way the financial means is not as burdensome.
How many towns?
Over 100, I'll get you a specific number. So it's local. It's not a state-run program. These are the local existing programs that are already happening. There are some new programs as well, but what we do have is a website called Summer CT, and that has the over 235 sites that are on there, and it has information on websites, contact information, and families can search there.
Is there a way that you guys are making sure students who struggle, especially during the
Absolutely. So, the summer enrichment money was really focused on those local community-based organizations that have programs or maybe want to do something new. But we also have school districts that are planning robust summer enrichment opportunities for their students, and we encourage them strongly to ensure that they were connecting with those summer programs. So, there's a ton of money that those school districts have through their ESSER funds, and now they're going to leverage that with the summer enrichment stuff.
What's the hope for
The-
this summer for those students?
The hope is that they have an unbelievable summer, the funnest summer that they've ever had.
Why? Because what do we know about them last year?
Yeah, I mean, it disrupted a lot of lives, but, again, students are going to be learning every day, everywhere throughout the state.
And is Hole in the Wall one of the camps, sorry, or just here because of
No.
this rich history?
Yep, we're here for the rich history, yeah. So the grants, there was a rubric for the grants, and those applications scored higher if they were providing, subsidized costs or free costs for families.
Do you know about how many are going to be giving the subsidized cost or the free cost?
I can get you that number.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, everybody.